All rise. The court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Porter will preside.
Hello, everyone. Please be seated. Let's see here. Case number 2533, Rupert Prescott versus Alicia Mooney. If you're here, please come to the podium. Mr. Prescott, good morning, sir.
Morning.
I see here that you're suing for $25,000. Something about breaking a lease. Also, I see here that you're requesting a restraining order against the defendant.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, you mind telling us what's going on here, sir?
Well, I own Orange Blossom condominiums.
Okay.
And I rented an apartment to Miss Mooney's mother.
Okay.
Several years ago. And she recently re-signed her lease for 18 months. After about 2 months, I didn't receive any more checks. So I emailed her a letter. I sent her a certified letter saying, where's the money? I didn't receive any response. No one contacted me, gave me any information. And then I found out that Mrs. Mooney had died and that her daughter had been seen going in and out of the apartment. We've seen furniture being moved in and out with other people going in and out. So I contacted her, sent her letters saying that you owe me $25,000, which is, I think the rent is $1,565 a month times 18 months minus the 2 months that they did pay.
In a tense courtroom, the session opens with Judge Porter addressing the landlord's controversial lawsuit. The case is stark in its premise. A grieving daughter, Alicia Mooney, faces a $25,000 claim because her mother passed away shortly after signing a lease. The landlord, Mr. Prescott, insists on the enforceability of lease agreements, asserting that property owners are often screwed when tenants walk away unexpectedly. As he lays out his grievances, we sense the larger issue at play, the tug-of-war between legal rights and human compassion. The gavel hasn't even fallen before the audience is drawn into the emotional and legal complexity of this confrontation.
Okay.
And it was very clear when I signed leases with people that you are bound by this lease, because I have tons of people that try to walk out on their leases, and if they walk out on their lease, I have to pay someone to clean the apartment. I can't rent the apartment out until I'm sure that they're gone. So I lose a lot of money. My insurance rates have gone up. So this is a very big hardship for me for someone to leave the lease like that.
Okay.
And I do believe that she was living there, or at least—
I was not living
there. Ma'am, please, I'll get to you in a second. Can you touch on the restraining order part?
Well, I tried contacting them and I kept sending them letters and no responses. No one contacted me. So one day I get a phone call from, I believe it's from her, and she's saying—
Miss Mooney?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's angry on the phone, yelling that I've been sending her all these letters. And she was saying stuff like, I'm gonna F you up and you better watch your back. I'm gonna kick you in your B's, So it was a very nasty phone call, and I hung up. And given the way that this has all gone, people going in and out of the apartment, it's slimy, and I'm nervous. I'm afraid for my safety.
Okay.
'Cause I'm a target. So,
Miss Mooney, ma'am, first off, am I pronouncing your last name correct, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Okay, Miss Mooney, you mind telling the courts your side of the story?
Yes. First of all, I just want to say, Your Honor, I'm still grieving the loss of my mother, and it's been a very difficult last few months.
Okay, you have my deepest condolences on that, ma'am.
Thank you. So my mother did renew the lease for 18 months. However, unfortunately, 2 months into that lease, she very suddenly passed away. And so as her eldest daughter, I stepped in and I called the
court is formally in session. Judge Porter calls the case, Prescott v. Mooney. Mr. Prescott steps forward with purpose. He owns the Orange Blossom condominiums and explains that Alicia's mother had renewed her lease for 18 months. But just 2 months in, the payments stopped. Despite multiple letters and a certified notice, he received no reply. When he later discovered the tenant had passed away and her daughter was moving furniture in and out of the apartment, he issued a $25,000 demand and now seeks a restraining order due to threatening messages. The tone shifts sharply as Mr. Prescott details a vulgar and aggressive phone call he attributes to Alicia, raising concerns about both money and personal safety.
The OBC property manager, there was a manager on site. I called her and I said, my mother has passed. And she assured me that, she was very sympathetic, and she assured me that everything would be fine. They would cancel the lease and there would be no penalties. And so, a few days pass and I get a bill in the mail for $25,000. There's an early termination penalty. So I call her back. And again, she said, she's like, just ignore it. Don't worry about it.
The $25,000, was that for the 16 months left on the lease agreement?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so I did as she instructed and I ignored it. And then a few weeks later, I start getting more bills in the mail directly from Mr. Prescott. I have collections notices taped to my door for failure to pay. And I actually have a screenshot that I'm going to show you. But Mr. Prescott is sending me Venmo requests from different usernames. You owe me 25.
Jerome, do me a favor. Can you collect that document and bring
Yep.
it up here, please?
Grandpa P, $sign. That's harassment, Your Honor. I should be the one seeking a restraining order from him. I didn't even think he knew how to use Venmo.
Let me ask you this question, Ms. Mooney. The lease agreement, it was to your mother exclusively, or was there someone else on the lease agreement?
She was the sole renter.
Okay. Did you reside at this residence?
I didn't. I went in and out to get the furniture.
Okay. All right, Mr. Prescott, you can give this back to her. Thank you. Mr. Prescott, let me ask you a question. Did your property manager advise you that her mother had passed?
I don't have a property manager.
Okay.
Judge Porter then turns to Alicia Mooney. Tearfully composed, she shares her grief over her mother's sudden death. She recounts how she informed a property manager, someone she believed represented the landlord, who reassured her that the lease would be canceled without penalties. Alicia thought the matter was settled until she began receiving increasingly aggressive notices, including bills and even bizarre Venmo requests from usernames like Grandpa P. $. Her testimony paints a picture not of a negligent squatter, but of a daughter trapped in bureaucracy and mourning. The contrast between her vulnerability and Mr. Prescott's unrelenting pursuit tightens the courtroom's emotional grip.
I have a gardener, and I have someone a handyman who comes and fixes things.
But you were aware of the fact that she had died?
No, well, I wasn't. I eventually found out, but no one told me that she died.
That's not true.
Okay.
I don't have a property manager.
So who picked up the phone when I called?
Well, if you don't have a property manager, who collects the rent?
I usually do.
How do you collect the rent?
They usually drop it off in a drop box, or they can
Or he's
mail
sending
it to me.
Venmo requests.
Hold on, ma'am. Hold on.
Or they can mail it to me, and sometimes some people do Venmo. So
Okay.
we have all different ways of doing
You
it.
have a drop box. How did Miss Mooney send you her payments?
She usually did a drop box.
Okay. So when you went to the Dropbox and you realized that her payment wasn't there, did you try to contact Mrs. Mooney?
Yeah, I left her voicemails.
Did you get a call back?
No.
That's not true.
Okay. Did you bother to check to make sure that she was there, or?
Well, after the second month, I did check, but the mail was being taken in. It looked like someone was still using the apartment. So I figured she went away. Sometimes she takes trips and visits her children. She's been there for about 8 years.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You said your mom died 2 months into the lease?
Yes.
How long ago did this unfortunate event take place?
It happened about a month ago.
A month ago.
So it's very recent, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Prescott, are you trying to tell me that when you realized that there was no payments going in, and you said that you see people going in and out, did you bother to ask hey, where's my payment?
Well, eventually, what I was doing was sending letters to the address.
No, but you said, correct me if I'm wrong or not,
Right.
you said you saw people coming in and out.
Judge Porter seeks clarity. He probes into the lease agreement and confirms that it was exclusively signed by Alicia's mother. Alicia did not live there. She only entered to retrieve furniture. This fact weakens the landlord's claim of ongoing occupancy. Still, the landlord stands firm. When asked if he had a property manager who was informed of the death, Prescott stunningly reveals that he has none, just a gardener and a handyman. This revelation directly contradicts Alicia's account and raises questions about whether she was misled by someone posing in an official capacity. Judge Porter's skepticism grows as he parses through the inconsistencies.
Did you bother to walk up and say, hey, you guys missed the last month or the last 2 months? What's going on? You said you physically saw it. I'm going by your testimony. You said you saw these people going in and out.
Let me clarify. I didn't literally see people walking in and out. The gardener, I asked the gardener and I asked the maintenance, not the maintenance man, the handyman, have you seen anybody going in and out? And they said that they've seen people going in and out, a woman and some men sometimes, and they were moving
Did
furniture.
anybody see Miss Mooney going in and out?
No.
Not this Miss Mooney, but the
No.
one that you leased to.
Well, she eventually contacted me.
Did anyone see the Mrs. Mooney that you leased to walking in and out?
No, not that I know of.
You don't think that maybe someone should have tried to make, I mean, if you have people on the grounds working on your behalf, maybe you could have had one of them go and say, hey, Mrs. Mooney, my boss wants to know what's going on with the payments.
Well, initially I just thought it was a slip up that she went, like sometimes she traveled. So I thought it was just a slip up. I mean, it's not sometimes people forget to pay their rent. Sometimes, and then eventually I have to remind them, but it hadn't gotten to that point.
I'm assuming that Mrs. Mooney did not have a problem, because if she did, you wouldn't give her a new 18-month lease.
No, she was always good, but like I said, sometimes people forget, and I let that slip by. It's not like if someone forgets a month's rent, I'm gonna throw them out.
Okay, so now here we are right now. Her mother